a therapy session, dealing with pain and obsession. Why do we lie? Why do we try to hide everything until the day we die? Welcome back to Therapy Session. Today I'm here with Lenny Mika.
Hi.
Hi. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
We set up, I think, a meeting 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
Yeah,
approximately.
Something like that. And I'm happy that you made it. Tell me about yourself. Who are you? What do you do?
Well, I am a writer, a poet, storyteller-ish person. I'm 25 years old. Did not grow up here, but moved here in 2021, and it has changed my life. And ever since then, I take this whole writing thing much more seriously, which also brought me here to DNA. The first time I was at a DNA event was last year in August at the Festival of Open Stages, and ever since then, I cannot picture a life without DNA. So
nice. Okay.
Yeah.
So where did you move from? Where have you lived before?
Well, I grew up in a very small town in Lower Saxony, kind of close to the border to North Rhine-Westphalia.
Okay.
Also all in Germany.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's not talk about that town. It's not worth talking about, really.
Okay. No, it's kind of interesting because it's a part of you and it makes you kind of who you are today. That's what I always say.
Yeah, that is correct. But actually, I mean, I personally, I would say, in general, you're totally right. But for me, my hometown is just not my place. Like, everyone there
Definitely
is the
not.
same.
Yeah.
Everyone is the same.
Yeah.
Everything is the same boring person. And that is just not my vibe. And the problem, in quotation marks, is that if you're just like a little bit different, you don't belong there. Like, at least that's what everyone acts like.
Okay.
So for me personally, that is just not an environment I could see myself in. But you're totally right. It has shaped me in a way. And it has definitely shown me who I don't want to be.
Yeah.
And that's also important.
I always perceive these things because I come from a small city too. And I was like, from the beginning, I was like, I'm wrong here. And my parents were like, you're not old enough to move out, so you have to stay here and you have to stick to it. So I think that's a part of us, where we're from and why we do certain things, or because at some point in our life we get programmed because of the things, because of our surroundings.
Of course.
So sometimes it's a huge part of us why we decided to do something, or sometimes we're just stubborn and say, no, I'm not going to do that because something mentally had us back then.
Exactly, yeah.
So it's an interesting part. That's why we're here. That's why it's called Therapy Session. It's not just about why you're here today, why you're so amazing. It's about why you got so amazing. So tell me, what do you write about?
Well, mainly I'm writing about life in all its different ways. Because I'm a huge fan of life in general, but it has not always been that way. Ever since I can think, I think it started in 2007-ish that I started to feel first symptoms of depression and everything. So, like, I mean, nowadays I can call it that, looking back. But in that moment, during that time, I didn't know, of course. But ever since then, I tried to somehow just make it through and survive somehow. And when I was about 14 years old, actually, I promised myself, like my younger self, to never turn 18, to end things before my 18th birthday. And you can't imagine how disappointed I was within myself that I was alive on my 18th birthday.
Okay.
I woke up full of disappointment.
Yeah.
So last month I turned 26 and I'm more than happy to be alive.
That's amazing.
That is a part of my story. That is a part of what I'm writing about. And that is why I write about life. Because no matter how dark it might seem sometimes, it's not a secret that a lot of people are struggling in the world.
Definitely.
But we have to break the stigma. It can't be in silence, because that is what makes people feel worse. We have to talk about it. And that is why I share my story.
Definitely.
And also I'm writing about identity, like personal identity and how to find your identity and your purpose in life, because that's also a huge part of my story. Basically, everything is inspired by my own life. But I mean, I think that's kind of similar for most artists, at least.
Definitely, it is. Yeah.
So I'm writing a lot about queer stuff, like queer identities, and how to be okay with yourself as who you truly are, like to accept your true self and not just who other people want you to be. Like, as I said, I grew up in a very small town, and everyone there was the same, and I didn't fit in. And I never felt like I could ever, but I tried to play a role for most years of my life. Shortly before I moved here, I finally found the courage to say who I really am. But that has been a long, long journey.
Yeah.
And that is something that I want to talk about because I needed a person like this when I was younger, and I didn't have them. So I want to be that person for others. I want to inspire people to become their true selves and to be proud of who they are and their lives in general, and to be able to say, this is me, and I am amazing the way I am.
That's amazing. So first, back to the city, I had a thought. You ever played a GTA?
Yeah, actually.
Okay, so I always thought like the city that I'm living is kind of like I'm the main character and everyone else is an NPC. So that's how I went through that.
Oh, I can relate, yeah.
So that was kind of for me at some point motivational because I was like, okay, I'm the main character. I have to do something around here. And the other thing is when you said you didn't want to wake up when you were 18, I've been through that in a different way. Somehow we all go through the same thing, but a different path maybe. And I also wrote a song about it. It's not out yet. I think I wrote it 6-7 years ago.
Oh, wow.
But it's still not out. But I can relate to that. So I know this feeling if you just don't want to keep going, but somehow you do.
Somehow you do, yeah.
What was the key for you to keep going?
Hope. Hope has always been my thing to hold on to, like kind of my anchor to life. Even in times that I felt like I don't have any hope, and maybe I couldn't even feel that it was there, but it was there somehow. It was there somewhere, I don't know, in my heart, in my soul, wherever. But even in the darkest times, when I thought nothing makes sense, everything is hopeless, nothing, like everything is meaningless, I'm meaningless, whatever. Even in these times, I somehow kept going because deep inside of me, whether I could feel it or not, I had the hope that at some point things get better. And I mean, it's a constant process. I don't think it ever ends like for good, but just seeing how far I've come since my 18th birthday, really, but also in the time between, it is so crazy how many things I would have missed out on if I did not make it this far.
Definitely.
And really, gratitude is one of the strongest feelings in my life. Being grateful to be, just to be, no matter how hard it has been and sometimes still is.
So where does the hope come from? What is it attached to?
Honestly, it is so hard for me to answer that question. Because on the one side, it's just somehow there. On the other side, definitely writing and creating art is giving me a lot of hope and makes me hold on to life.
So it's the creativity that gives you the hope to keep going somehow?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, through the writing, I can I can put a lot of my thoughts in there, obviously. And that way it helps me to deal with these things.
Therapeutic.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And I mean, therapy also helped me a lot. I'm still in therapy after many years, so that helps. Also faith. I'm a strong believer. It's crazy how many things there are that can give you hope, but sometimes you can still don't see any of it, and still you keep going. And I feel like my story, like looking back at my story and how far I've come, is also what keeps me going and gives me hope.
That's a very nice ending to the sentence. So you have written a few things. I think I saw it on your WhatsApp, right? Like.
Yeah. I've published 4 books so far.
Wow.
The 5th one is coming out soon. I haven't announced it yet officially, but I will very soon, so I can just say the date now. This is very exclusive.
Look into the camera and say.
Yeah. So my next book will come out on June the 8th of this year, 2024. It's called The Poetry of Healing, and I think that's very fitting.
Nice.
To
okay,
this.
The Poetry of Healing. What are the other titles?
So the first book that I've published is called Vom Weg abgekommen. It's in German. It's a story about my life, basically.
Okay.
The second one is called All Colors of Life, Alle Farben des Lebens. It's a poetry collection about life in German and in English in one book, which is kind of cool, I think. The third one is a short novel, also in German, that is called Gegensätze ziehen sich nicht immer an.
Nice.
Kind of inspired by the saying opposites attract, but they don't always.
No, they don't.
It's basically
kind of just rubbish.
Yeah. So basically, I just turned that around.
Yeah.
So opposites don't always attract. And my last publication is the Poetry of Connection, which is the first part of a series, Lost and Found. And my upcoming book, The Poetry of Healing, will be the second part of the series.
The last two books are in English or also German?
All English.
All English.
Yes.
How come that you decided to transit to English?
Well, ever since I was a small boy, I've always pictured, or I always imagined English to be the language that gives you freedom.
Yeah,
if you're able to communicate well enough in English, the world basically is yours. Like everywhere in the world, wherever you go, someone speaks English. Not everyone might be fluent or something, but that's not what it's about.
They know a few words and might understand you.
Yeah, as long as you can somehow communicate, It's different with German. So ever since I started learning English in school in like third grade or something, I tried to do my best in like getting better and better and better. And then in 2022, I met a wonderful group of people through a fandom. And one of these people today is my fiance.
Nice.
And,
congrats.
Thank you. She's born and raised in the US.
Okay.
And so her first language and only fluent language is English. And ever since then, we talked a lot in English. And that, like meeting her and the group of friends, it was just kind of a wake-up call for me that how many more people I could reach when speaking in English, writing in English, and selling my books all over the world instead of just in Germany. Not just because the audience is bigger and that, of course, like makes it a little easier to like reach more people in general, but also because I have a purpose, I have a mission. I'm here to inspire people and to share my story. And I want as many people as possible to hear this story and to find their own purpose within my words somehow, whether it's in the words or in between. But somehow I just want to reach as many people as possible.
So you want to be also like a help for others who might suffer or go through the same path.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've always been kind of like a therapist of the friend group, always, ever since. Everyone, I don't know what it is about me, but people seem to just
more
trust me very
that's
fast.
The thing.
What?
More approachable.
I don't know. It just seems like people trust me really fast. So whenever I meet new people, I usually am the person people always go to when they struggle with something. Like it's always like, hey, Lenny, do you have some advice? I have to talk about something. I don't know who to talk to. Can I talk with you? These kind of things. And it's always been that way, kind of. But also, I know how hard it can be to talk with others and also how it feels to not have anyone to talk to. Like nowadays, I do have these people, which I'm really, really grateful for. But it's not always been that way. And within these times, I found exactly what I'm trying to offer through art, in music, in books, and similar. So I want to be that kind of person too for others.
That's nice.
Yeah.
So you don't do music, right? You just
I'm not doing music as of now.
Okay. You ever approached like this genre to try to do some music? Or
actually, I wrote a few songs actually and
nice.
Recorded them at home.
Okay.
But it's kind of just like the same concept as my writings, just in rap actually.
Rap, okay. I thought more singing, but okay.
I'm not much of a singer actually. I mean, I sing and rap for fun. I enjoy it, but it's nothing I would like to do like more professionally.
Okay. And the books that you work on, how long does it take you to write? Where does the inspiration besides from yourself come from? Because when I write songs is, of course, through experience and the things that sometimes bother me when I'm more pissed about something, then I write more aggressive, of course, and the things come quicker.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just like looking through the eyes of others. So what is it for you besides your own personal experience?
Sometimes it is just like, I don't know, when I'm sitting on the train and I see something and I'm like, okay, I have to somehow write about this. I have to use this, whether it's someone who moves a certain way or when someone says certain things to another person on the train or something, for example. It can hit me anywhere. And that is kind of the thing. It can hit anywhere and at any time of the day. Sometimes actually I wake up at like 3 a.m. in the middle of the night and I cannot go back to sleep before I at least take some notes about an idea
I
that
know
I'm
this
having.
feeling.
So sometimes it's just crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
How
You just wake. You have something in your head, and then you cannot fall. Or when you fall asleep, the next sometimes I had this. I was like, tomorrow I will remember, and the next day I wake up is gone.
Yep. That happened to me like 1 or 2 times, and ever since then I always take notes.
Yeah,
I cannot bear that anymore.
exactly.
I can't let my good ideas just flow away.
Yeah, because I fell asleep yesterday. I think around 5 or 6, because I was so tired. I went to bed, and I just couldn't sleep because I had a flow in my head the whole time. And I was like, "Don't worry, you will remember it tomorrow." And I knew in the back of my head it was like a conversation going on. It was like, "No, you won't remember it." And then, "No, I will." It was like a back and forth.
Yeah.
It took me, I think, 2 hours to end the conversation and finally just wake up and I'm like, "Fuck it, just go and do the test recording." So this is what
So
I
you
did.
did it.
Yeah, of course.
Good. Good.
So I know where this comes from. The other thing is, since you're here in Berlin, how long are you here now?
Summer of 2021.
Okay.
So like mid-pandemic.
Okay. Since then, how has it been for you mentally?
It has been a roller coaster,
Okay.
really. When I first moved here, I was the happiest I've ever been, probably at that time of my life, because I felt so free. I finally felt like I found a place that I could call home,
Okay.
because I've never felt at home in my hometown. It's kind of ironic that I still call it hometown, but that's just the term.
Where you
right?
got
that's
came
just the
to
term.
Earth.
Yeah. But after a while, when I got more settled and everything went more to normal and it wasn't like this huge exciting experience anymore. I mean, Berlin is still exciting to me, but in a different way. Because before moving here, I went here like once for a weekend with a friend. And that was it. I just moved
Okay.
here
Okay.
after 4 or 5 years since that weekend. Without
So one
knowing
weekend was
anyone.
enough, like, for you.
I just did it.
Okay.
I knew I had to somehow escape my hometown.
Okay.
And I wanted to go to a city that spoke to me, and Berlin always did. I just never really had the chance to come here more often. But then, like, when everything was a little more back to normal and daily life, hustle, basically, I kind of had a major down
Okay.
in the beginning of 2022.
Because?
Many different reasons, actually. I was really stressed at my job that I had at that time. I mean, I loved my job. It was just really stressful. So that was the thing. Then a contact with a person ended kind of unexpectedly. He just ended things from one day to the other without talking with me anymore, and we haven't talked about it since. And that has really, broke me in that time. And then over Christmas and New Year's is always difficult for me because I've never been a fan of these
Festives.
both days. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm just not a big fan of holidays in general, I gotta say. But December has always been hard for me. But that year really was crazy.
If I may interrupt, like, I feel like the winter time is kind of a thing for artists to feel a lot of pain for no reason.
Yep.
Because the time around November till mid-January, I'm just completely down. I feel like I could be just. Is it bears that have like these long sleeves, winter sleeves, or something like that? So I feel like I could just do that. Like,
Yeah.
just,
Oh my goodness, I would love that.
Yeah, right. I'm just completely down. Like, fuck everything. And then, but this year I really realized it has been like this ever since. Like, it's always like that. So
Yeah.
the years before, I was struggling with myself to tell myself what's wrong, what's your problem. Then I understood. No, it's just. Like, through the summer, I put all this energy out, and through the rest of the year, I do it too. So it's winter time, just chill, do nothing.
Yeah, take it easy.
Yeah, but I learned to enjoy the holidays. I actually never did. It was, for me, it was like I need to do something because right now I'm just bored if I don't do anything. Or I'm losing time if I don't do anything. But then I learned because of my family, they love holidays. They celebrate big. Especially my sister did it always.
Okay.
She was decorating the whole place.
Oh my.
When she
That sounds like a nightmare to me.
No, it was actually nice. When she moved out, when she got married and moved out, this whole thing was gone. It was kind of boring then because we got used to that.
Yeah.
And now my wife does it. Now I have to, now I have to put up a camp sometimes, how we decorate the tree. And
that sounds so lovely though.
See, that's the thing. If you like find something, because when I was living alone, I didn't do any of it.
Yeah.
And she, like for me, even birthdays, I don't really care about it. I always say birthdays should be celebrated with your mother and the doctor who was present or who else was present that day. They should be there and celebrate you, but that's it. But yeah, my wife does it different, or my whole family does it different. They're always like, no, it's something we should celebrate. We must do it. So
yeah, I mean,
I caved
think
in at some point.
As long as you celebrate with the right people and like the environment it speaks to you and it feels good.
Yeah.
Then I like enjoying the holidays as well. Like my fiance is the biggest Christmas person in the world.
No, you have this problem.
Yeah, kind of. But with her it's different, you know. Then I decide to. When I was younger, I was forced to spend it with people I didn't want to spend it with. So I couldn't enjoy. Then 2022, I believe. Yeah.
The year that wasn't so nice.
Yeah. In the end of that year, I decided to not do anything around the Christmas holidays.
Okay.
And it was so relieving for me, not pressuring myself to like play this role again that I used to play when I grew up and go back to my hometown and celebrate Christmas with the people I don't want to celebrate it with mostly.
So yesterday, I was kind of, because of a few little things, I was kind of pissed. And I didn't do anything. I decided to be stubborn and do nothing. I was like, no, fuck it. I'm depressed now. And it was a few little things. And sometimes these little things are enough to take you off the route. Like,
oh, totally.
They take you out because before that, I was sitting there and I was like writing new lyrics and stuff like this. Was very peaceful. And after that, for 2 hours, I didn't do anything. And then I started to just like some dark lyrics to write down. So back to 22. When after that, you eventually passed that. And then did you recoup with writing, or what did you do then?
Well, I've always been writing. Okay. Always. There has never really been a time of my life in which I didn't write at all. Like it has been more or less, of course. It's always been up and down. But the most, I think, was definitely in 2022 and 2023.
Okay. Towards the end or the beginning or through the whole year?
More or less through the both years.
Okay.
Or ever since then, really. Like at first, I used it to cope with all the struggles I had in the beginning of 2022. But then it just became a habit at some point, actually. And it just felt so good. You know, it felt so good to have something to hold on to. And then I decided to put it in a book.
Nice.
And then I started publishing books, and now I'm here.
Nice, nice. How was it for you to release your first book?
It was crazy.
Also physical, or is it just digital?
Yes, all my books are available physically. Nice. And some also as ebooks.
Nice.
I think most of them are. Besides the first one, I guess. The first one was published within an award, so that was kind of, on the one side, more exciting, but on the other side, less freedom within creating and everything. So mostly I'm talking about the 3 ones that came afterwards, because that's all like self-publishing and 100% my work. So from scratch, the cover, all the lyrics, all the poems, and all
lyrics,
the texts, like all the words, the words, cover, layout, everything is me. Besides proofreading, of course, I've had some proofreaders, but that was it. And it's just such a crazy feeling to hold a book in your hands that you don't only like in a way, but also it says your name on the front and on the back and everywhere, and you know this is what I wrote.
You have your soul in
this
it.
Is me
Yeah.
on paper.
Yeah.
That
True.
is such a crazy feeling, and that is the strongest when you really hold it in your hands.
I can imagine.
Like publishing ebooks might be cool as well. I mean, I love that my books are available online, like digitally as well, because it's just easier for some people. But for me personally, there is nothing better than a physical book.
Most definitely. If I have a book digital, I never read it though. I always like push it back. I'm like, yeah, at some point, and then I look for the audio, and then because I'm just too lazy to do it digitally. So, and some people suggested to get the Kindle. I was like, no, it's not the same. You don't have like the paper and the cover.
You
and
have
everything.
to feel the paper. You have to smell the pages.
Exactly.
The
You know how
smell of a
often-
new book. Oh my goodness.
You know how I often I do that, and people tell me you're creepy because when I open up the book, and then at some point I just smell it and then put it back, and then.
I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. I'm the same way.
How do you treat your books? Like when I read the books, I try not to like open it too much because I don't want any cracks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. It really depends on the book.
Okay.
But I'm a really huge fan of marking things and just underlining and
we could
everything.
not be friends and then.
but always with a pencil, never
Still.
with like colors and everything.
Okay.
But I just have to highlight things.
Okay.
And I use a lot of markers to like Post-it kind of
Yeah.
to put them on the pages that either really spoke to me or that I want to read again or just to find things again. That just makes it easier for me. But I could never like, I don't know, fold the corners of a page or
Yeah,
something.
that's
Oh
horrible.
my goodness,
Yeah.
do that and no.
We're done.
We're done here.
No, I have a book. You know Machiavelli?
I heard the name before, yeah.
Okay, so Machiavelli is the guy who was a warrior, more or less. There is more background to it, but eventually he faked his death
Oh my.
for, I think, was it 7 or 13 years? Because now I mix it up with Tupac anyhow. So he faked his death until his enemies were dead. So, and then he
Wow.
came back. It's a really interesting story.
Crazy.
And back then when I was studying, my teacher, like we had a debate. She was like, you never read books probably. I was like, no, I do. And then it was a back and forth. She was like, okay, bring me one of your books that you read. So I brought her that book. And when I got it back, it was full of notes. And I looked at her. I was like, what did you do with it? She was like, why? You never read the book? I was like, why? Why would you think I would never? Because she was like, there was nothing in there. There was no notes, no nothing. I was like, because this is how I treat my books. So eventually she had to buy me a new book because I was like, I cannot have it like that. But she still gave me the original back, so I have still the notes in there.
That's cool though.
Yeah.
But I feel her in that situation actually. I could never not mark anything
No,
unless
I
it's a
can-
really bad book.
No,
Like the less markers you see in my books, the less I liked it.
I'm the other way around. If I don't like it, I write into it. They should make this one better here. They should add some words here or whatever. But like, my books are clean and they're all like brand new looking.
Wow, that's impressive actually. I've never heard that before.
No, I don't like it when
Crazy.
like I had a few Post-its and one of the books, because the Post-it wasn't there, I think for 2 years, and when I took it off,
Oh no.
there was like a mark of the
Oh, no.
sticky. So I was like,
Okay, that's terrible. That's terrible. That's why I leave my Post-its in there.
yeah, no. Then after that, I even didn't do that anymore. It was yeah, okay, this color kind of, yeah. So anyhow, yeah, no, I cannot. But interesting that my aunt, she's a writer, and she also does that she puts like some writings in the books, and she also published a few books. It's an inspiration for me. I always wanted to publish a book. I never do. Too many things going on in
It's
life.
never too late.
Yeah, no, it's never too late. I always have, what's his name? The guy from KFC?
I don't know.
Okay, he made...
Ask a vegan for the name of the guy of KFC.
No, it's not about that. It's about his story. His story is very interesting because he opened up KFC, I think, at the age of nearly 70 or something.
Oh wow.
Because his wife left him, his children was there not anymore, like his job was that he got fired.
Okay.
So his story is interesting.
I see.
You should read about it. This is like really, because he then, how did he come up with with the recipe? Is he was poor, and then he started to cook the chicken the way it is famous for now.
Yeah.
And it was so good that people around him liked it so much, then he decided to do that. So for me,
I see. That's really inspiring.
that's really inspiring, yeah. So that's why for me, it's like, it's never too late if the guy from KFC did it. Like, you know?
That's actually a good way to think about it, yeah.
So it's not about the meat or anything. It's just like the story behind it. It's always interesting.
I just thought it was funny in that moment.
It's always interesting how people achieve something in their life.
Totally.
Yeah. Because of struggle mostly.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, my best writings are, at least I started writing them in the worst times of my life.
Yeah.
And not all of them are super negative necessarily. I mean, sometimes when I'm really feeling down, I write about all the good things in life to remind myself of these.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's like a lot of my texts are starting really negatively and then get more positive and positive and positive and end like super hopeful. That's
really
kind of my signature move by now, I feel like. Because I mean, a lot of the hope and the strength that I have nowadays is from all the negative things I've gone through and how I approach these things now. Like that some things that used to be able to destroy an entire day, when I'm just thinking about it nowadays, I'm like, okay, yeah, was tough, but I'm still here.
Yeah, definitely.
So I don't think that's a bad thing, actually.
Definitely not.
A lot of my writings are really negative, but always with a hopeful end in the most cases.
That's nice.
Yeah.
So are you open to talk about the way you grew up?
We can talk about that, yeah.
Okay, tell me about it.
Oh my.
How many siblings do you have?
Well, I grew up as an only child, actually.
Wow, okay.
And when I was 2.5, 3-ish, my biological parents got a divorce.
Okay.
Ever since then, my relationship with my biological dad has been difficult. Nowadays, we don't talk at all. My mom found a new husband, though, and so my stepdad is basically like my dad for me. He's the best person in that kind of position, in my opinion. So I'm really, really happy that my mom found him and that they are still together nowadays. And with him, she got me a brother. Okay. He is now 16. Okay. Interesting age. Yeah. But we're super, super close. Like, he's one of the most important people in my life. My biological dad also married a new woman, and they have a child together. My sister, she and I are also super, super close. There are just a few people I am as proud of as I am of her.
Nice. It's lovely.
Yeah, really. Like my brother and my sister, these are two such amazing people. It is so crazy when you think about they grow up in the same city where I grew up. And no, I mean, I know a lot of people there, you know, and most people just end up the same basic, boring people as most people already live in there. But these two people are like really hidden gems.
Nice.
And I feel deep connections to both of them, which is really, really nice.
There must be something in the DNA of your parents that your siblings are also like.
I don't know. Maybe it's that, or it's just the way they saw me a lot. Because like my sister especially, she's a lot of copy paste like me.
Nice. Okay.
We always used to say that, even when she was like super young, like 3 years old or 4. She was always like, "Yeah, I'm so copy paste." But nowadays, like both of them are also going through some difficult things lately and throughout the past few years, but. Both of them always told me, like, you're an inspiration to me.
That's amazing.
We look up to you because you made it that far. And actually, my sister sent me a text a while ago saying, "Lenny, you saved me."
Wow.
And that really, really touched me. And that is such a crazy thing to hear in general. But hearing that from someone who means the world to you is a really, really, really special feeling.
It's another motivation for you to go and wake up another day.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Like on every day that I'm questioning my existence, I'm thinking about these kind of situations, like all the positive things people have told me that I like, the ways I changed their lives, for example. It is just so crazy. Yeah, but most of the time, like my childhood was meh, really not like great or anything. Even though still everyone says your childhood wasn't that bad. Yeah, well, because you don't know the truth.
From your perception, it was different. Like,
I mean, I've never really talked about the whole story, so most people just don't know simply. So I see where it comes from, but that really is just because they don't know the truth.
yeah,
I mean, I'm not gonna go too much into detail now because that would just be like taken forever. But my biological dad is the master of manipulation,
okay,
and has always been that way, kind of, which I realized way too late. It's always been like I've always been the person whose fault it is that things go wrong.
okay,
But I just want you to be happy, these kind of things. So nowadays he still says, I don't understand why Lenny's not talking to me. And I'm just always thinking, how can you not understand why I need this distance from you? You know what I mean? It is so crazy how much people can hurt you without even realizing, or at least not being able to acknowledge themselves.
Yeah.
Like, so many of my struggles and problems nowadays, a huge part of why my mental health is the way it is because of him. And he should be well aware of that.
Some people will never have the understanding for it. That's the thing.
Yeah, and for most of my life, I've tried to understand why he can't see that, why he can't just accept me the way I am, and why he's never apologized for what he did. But nowadays, I'm just like, you know what? If he can't see it, then he's not worth fighting for anymore. I'm feeling so much better without his presence in my life, and like, it's just like, I mean, of course, I'm still talking about it in a way like we do right now, but most of the days, honestly, I don't even think about him a lot anymore. There are just a very, very few moments that I'm thinking like, what's he up to or something, but that is so rare. And just the difference in how I felt growing up and how I feel nowadays without this huge, really burden in my life, it is so different. I'm feeling so much better and more confident within myself and all these things because now I'm surrounding myself with the right people I chose.
Yeah.
People I want to be around, I have a huge family nowadays, a chosen family.
Nice.
Because family is so much more than just blood. But when I grew up, as it is in most small cities or towns, family is the people you're blood related to, and that is
Definitely,
it.
yeah.
And you don't get another kind of definition of it. You have to, like, I had to figure that out on my own. So when it's about my blood relatives, there are not a lot of people I would actually refer to as family in my understanding of family, because I'm not really close to most of them. There are a few of them that I really, really love from the bottom of my heart, but most of them are just people in my life, in a way. But the people that I would refer to as my family, whether blood related or not, these are the people who keep me going every single day. And these are the people why I am here today. And DNA is a huge part of that, actually.
Nice.
Yeah.
So they say in China, they say that like life is like a train, and some places, some people will get into your wagon, and some others they will go off, and there are just a few who will go to the end with you. So sometimes some of the family doesn't go. It's just like you say, it's blood related, but not more. I mean, even the Wu-Tang had to found a new family, right?
Yeah, and that says everything,
Yeah,
right?
definitely. So you always have to see the things positive and half full to
Totally.
go further and beyond the things that you want.
Yeah, and it's exactly what you just said. What you want, what
Yeah.
I want for my life is what I have to fight for and what I have to walk towards to. Like, I'm fighting for what I want in life. You're fighting what you want in life. And that's how it is for every single person. Everyone has to focus on what they want to achieve in life and how they want to create their personal lives and stuff, and not just listen to whatever their parents say or whoever is trying to put them in a position just because we know better than you what's right for you, because no one does. No one does.
Besides of that, some people just have a certain perception of life and stop at that point.
Yeah.
They don't go beyond that. When I was a child, I was trying to explain to my father, like, I want to be someone who's I'm creative and I want to do this and that. And for my father, he was more a businessman. It's like, this makes no sense to me. It's like, I know, but there might be a day in my life, I hope not, but there might be a day in my life where I have a child and they try to explain something to me and I'll be like, this doesn't make any sense to me, but I still want to grow and try to understand it. So on that topic is, yes, I grew up in the 90s and the way we spoke was very different. And there's some people I still speak the same way too, and when I know like the newer generation is there, I try to adjust and not say certain things. But some people just don't, like they just keep going on the way they grew up and the way.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, so they don't change, they don't evolve, they don't adjust to the times.
Yeah, they're stuck in the past.
Exactly. Not necessarily in the past, they're just stuck on the rails that they drive on, like they don't change. This is how I.
Oh, that's what you mean. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, yeah,
So-
yeah. Just sticking to what they're used to.
Exactly.
Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, staying in
So-
the comfort zones.
Also, yeah, for them they're just stubborn. They don't want to see the things in a different way. And one of the things that I learned was always look at the things from a different perspective.
Yep, same.
Is like, ironically, this is one of the things that my father told me, but he doesn't always. So, but I love him the way he is, and I appreciate him for the things that he has done. And yeah, on that note, let's go to the next thing. So I see you have Prince P on your shirt.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
listen to his music?
Hell yeah.
Okay.
I listened to him ever since the Rebell ohne Grund album came out.
Okay.
But especially Kompass ohne Norden really spoke to me, and it's like especially a few songs on that album just like hit a weak spot
Okay.
back then in 2013. And Prince P, really, he saved my life multiple times.
Nice.
Literally, his music has saved me a lot. And this year I finally went to a concert of his again. The last time was in like 2017-ish.
Okay.
So it's been a while. But this year I went to the anniversary tour of
Okay.
Kompass ohne Norden.
Nice.
And it was just so crazy how safe it feels to me to listen to his music. And I
Okay.
mean, it was in the Columbia Halle, and I
Yeah.
went there on my own.
Okay.
It was the first time I went to such a big concert on my own, and I have social anxiety,
Okay.
and I enjoyed every second of it. I wasn't scared
Funny
at
that
all.
you have social anxiety and you do these things.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
Yeah.
People wouldn't believe it. When people meet me and I tell them I have social anxiety, everyone's like,
It was the same thing with me when I tell people I'm introverted.
"You what?"
Yeah. Sometimes I'm better now, but
Yeah.
I used to be like totally introverted. So I know where this comes from. Keep going.
Yeah, but long story short, yes, I love his music.
Okay. Interesting though. So
Why is it interesting? What about it?
I mean, like, I personally never listened to German rap until I had a few friends who did, and my brother, of course. And then they showed me. The sound of it was weird to me.
Okay.
It was, first of all, listening to German rap. It was like, okay, it was foreign. And the other thing is, like you said in the beginning, like the English is a world language.
Yeah.
For me, is round up the whole
Yeah.
thing. And when I listened to the German rap, it was more edgy. I was like, okay, you know. And the other thing is to see you, like, I don't know, I had no expectation what kind of music you would listen to, but
Yeah.
certainly not Prince P. So
Well,
it's
there is
interesting.
nothing I don't listen to really.
Okay.
So, I mean, I'm a big fan of German rap actually. Yeah,
Yeah.
I am. But there's so much more music I like to listen to. There really is not really a limit.
Okay, nice,
No limits.
nice. So
Depends on my mood.
yeah, it's always like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes I just put on like jazz music for
Jazz
hours.
is nice too.
Yeah.
Sure.
And then some people are like but you listen to hardcore rap. I'm like, yeah, but they have a soft side. It's not just hardcore.
Yeah, exactly. We're all versatile people.
Definitely. So what's the next step for you? You're now 25?
26.
26, okay.
If I said 25 in the beginning, that's because my birthday was just last month, and I'm still
Oh.
adjusting.
Happy birthday.
Thanks. Next steps. Oh my, I really don't know.
No plans for now.
I mean,
Just go with
I
the
have
flow.
so many plans and ideas,
Okay.
but most things are not really as far to already share these more detailed. I'm working on a little new project with my fiance, and
Also a writer or?
well, she is a musician. Actually, she plays the piano.
Okay.
And we're thinking about some like dual things with like spoken word and piano ish, and also we have this other idea that I'm not allowed to talk about yet.
Come on, tell me. We're gonna cut it out. No.
It's also gonna be creative
Okay.
and about like making a change in the world. That's I think I can say that much. But yeah, more about that later. That is it when it's about that. And I mean, of course, always keep writing, always keep going on stage, performing, and working on my next book to be done. So it's good to be published soon.
Definitely. So June, right?
Yes,
Nice.
June the
Okay.
8th.
So how many pages?
I'm not 100% sure yet.
Okay.
It's really hard to tell because I mean, I have the main concept and everything, and the rough, like, the pillars are standing, but the entire thing is not done yet.
Okay. You do also the graphic works on that?
Yes.
So you also do graphic design, or is it just?
Yeah, a little. Like,
Okay.
I mean, I'm a freelancer since April 2022, so I've had to do everything on my own
Okay.
basically. But I've always been a fan of designing things, and especially graphic design and digital design. I also do some digital drawing and stuff, but mainly it's like simple-ish, not like too intense. But I mean, I could other things as well. It's just not my main thing.
Okay. Your own
Just
style.
creativity in general.
Okay. Freelance in which part?
Well, also writing
Right,
mainly.
okay.
Yeah. I also used to teach German.
Oh, okay.
And I mean, I could still do it if people wanted to learn German. It's just all my previous students are good for now. I want to start tattooing. I got a tattoo machine a while ago, so I want to like step that game up a little.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you're busy all the time also.
Way too busy.
Yeah.
Like my days are way too short for all the things I'm doing, and my energy is not high enough to do it. But I'm constantly hustling. I
Yeah.
feel so bad when I'm not doing anything.
Yeah, I know how this feeling is.
I figured. I
Yeah.
feel like that's a very artist thing to feel.
Mostly, yeah. Not all the artists, because I know some of them, they just wait for other people to do something for them. They just get some of the work done and say, yeah, but this guy has to finish this. And then he's pissed about,
Yeah.
he still has not finished that or whatever. I'm like, it's like, you have to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Either you have to do it or you have to have like the charisma to make the people around you move.
Yeah, and just like be patient.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just about being patient.
Yeah.
Like when I sent my first poetry collection to the proofreading person, I had a deadline in my head. I mean, there was no official deadline, but it was in my head when I wanted to publish it, or at least like submit everything so it can be published soon. But then at first she was on vacation, which was, I mean, she had planned that and told me about it, so no problem. Then she got sick. Then I got sick. Then she didn't have the time because of work. Then I didn't have the time because of other things. So it just took much, much longer than expected. But I would never like make a scene about that or whatever, because on the one side, everyone can get sick. Everyone has a life and things to do in life. But also, especially when it's people that you want something of, I could never be rude to anyone that I'm asking for a favor or to do something for me, whether it's paid or unpaid.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter in the end. But like, if I wanted you to do something for me, I would never be super rude to you.
Yeah.
I just don't see where that's coming from. I don't understand it.
Yeah. The other thing is, for me, that plays a big role is loyalty.
Yeah.
So if I sit down with you and say, hey, we have a project now and let's do it in that time period. And if the other person is just lazy and drops off at some point, then I'll be kind of pissed about that.
Sure.
So because like we said we're gonna do it, I was depending on you.
Yeah.
And at some point it's not anymore, then I can be pissed about it. But
no, I
besides of
understand that.
Yeah.
But I mean more like I don't know. Let's say you were a proofreader and
No, I
I
know
would
what
ask
you
you
mean,
to
yeah.
proofread my
Yeah.
book. I would never be like, okay, you done now?
Yeah.
1 week later, how far are you now?
I know what you mean.
When do I get the files finally?
Yeah.
So how about now? How about
I know.
yesterday? So that is more of my point. When
Yeah.
when I'm collaborating with someone or cooperating with someone, it's a completely different thing for
Definitely,
me.
yeah.
I tend to be way more harsh on these kind of people, mainly because I want to get things done. And when it's something, especially when it's about like splitting up responsibilities, like when, like let's say we would do a project together and we'd be like, okay, we have a to-do list of 10 things. I do these 5, you do these 5. And then I'm done and you're not even started with the first thing, then I'd be pissed too.
Yeah.
Of course.
Exactly. So yeah, I've been through that a lot, and this makes it bitter at some point. But
Yeah.
you just keep going. Just like fuck it.
You have to keep going.
Yeah.
Giving up is not an option.
But then I write about how I would kill these people. No.
Oh my goodness. Just create a character based on them.
Yeah, definitely I do that. Well, it was lovely to have you here.
Yeah, thank you for the
Anything
invitation.
else that you want to add, that you want to say to the people out there about you?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
It was
Most
a
welcome.
pleasure. And to everyone who has listened to this, thanks for listening and thanks for watching this. And also be proud of who you are, stay who you are, and be true to yourselves always, no matter what you're going through. You got it. And yeah, if you want to see more of me, you can follow me on social media at I am Lenny Mika on all common social media platforms, and check my website, lennymika.com, and my shop.lennymika.com.
Nice.
And otherwise, keep listening to this podcast.
Thank you.
Sure.
You're going to send me all the links, and then we're going to put
course.
it in the description.
All right.
And it will be, as usual, out everywhere. Yeah, thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you.
It was lovely. Cut!